part of what I really love about doing this is that I get to tell the story about my grandparents, and I get to tell the history of the farm and the home out there, but I also get to tell the story of my grandparents and how much they love this place, and keep their memories alive. And this was my husband's favorite place to go. I mean, like when we got married, like we spent so much time out there because he loved it out there so much. And so it's kind of like being close to him too at the same time was like going to one of his favorite places. And you know, being able to keep that for my daughter and my kids is just really, really important to me to keep all that together. And like doing the business there, then I get to go talk about my grandparents and my husband and share all that with other people too. So
I love that. And it's a beautiful legacy for them. And it's also really beautiful for those people who are getting married there to be like,
yeah.
this has meaning. This isn't just like a building somebody put up. This has survived. This has a lot of heart to it. And I think that adds so much to somebody's wedding.
Yeah, and like this is my special place, and then I get to share that with other people, and then it becomes their special place too.
There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground. And it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, 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 I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine.
I'm Karaleigh Garrison, a singer-songwriter, motivational speaker, and your host of the Seeking Sunshine podcast, where we find the positive in the trials of life. I created this podcast because I believe really deeply that we can learn from one another's stories and experiences. I'm willing to bet that just about all of us have been through some really, really tough things. And not only is it therapeutic for us to be able to talk about these darkest times in our lives, but the lessons that we've learned and the resilience we've shown can help everyone around us weather their own storms from higher ground. On the Seeking Sunshine podcast, we don't shy away from difficulty and trauma, but we always look for the sunshine in it. It's my personal belief that there are blessings in every trial and trials in every blessing. I use this Seeking Sunshine mantra every single day to change my perspective when things start going wrong and getting frustrating, which they often do because I have 3 kids with special needs. And I can tell you that it has transformed my life. And I hope, and that's the whole point of this podcast, that it can transform your life too. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. I am so excited that you're here today, and I want to thank you again for coming and listening. It means so, so much to me. Now, before we dive into this amazing episode, I wanted to let you know that my album is coming out in just 2 weeks, and I am so, so excited to share it with you. I've been diving into it, getting everything ready to go, and it is so incredible. I have put everything into it, and it's really amazing, guys. It's so good, and I'm so excited for you to hear it. And it's just everything. It's just everything I've been working towards for 18 months. It's so good. I'm so thrilled for you to hear it. It's really, really amazing. So I hope that you will take a few minutes and go pre-order it at my website, which is KaraleghGarrison.com. And actually, I have something really special in mind. If you want to promote it, I have a special code where you can actually preview the whole album right now. So if that's something you're interested in, reach out to me. You can email me at seekingsunshinepodcast@gmail.com, and I will send you over a little code if you want to promote the episode on your podcast or on your social media or wherever. I think that would be really awesome. And then you can hear the whole thing now. now and tell me what you think. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So today's episode, let's dive right in. Today we have the amazing Rebecca Williamson, and she tells us the story of this 1800s era home that her grandparents preserved that was like this childhood inspiration for her, and it's such a cool story. And then as an adult, she lost her grandmother and her husband right within like 6 months of each other, and it's so sad. But then she bought this house that her grandparents had preserved, and she bought it on a whim. And she tells us the story of how she turned it into this amazing wedding venue, and how she was able to build this business with no like entrepreneur experience, and what an adventure it was. And it's such a cool story. I'm really excited for you to hear it. So let's dive in. I'm really excited for you to hear this. It's really inspiring. Hi, Rebecca. I'm so excited to have you today on the Seeking Sunshine podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's jump in. I want to hear your story and all the things that you've been through. I know it's a really amazing story.
Thanks. So it starts. Oh, we'll start with good stuff. We'll start with good stuff first. My grandparents bought a secondary home in 1979. The Cambry House is a historic home that was built in the 1860s. My grandmother had gone there as a little girl to pick apples because it was a working apple orchard at that time. And she loved the home and the property. And when it went up for auction in the 70s, she told my grandfather she wanted to go buy it. And he kind of drug his feet and said, I don't know if I really want to do that. And she said, well, let's just go look at it. And got him out there, and he absolutely fell in love with it. It was exactly the way my grandmother had remembered it as a little girl, and they ended up buying it. So they decided to just kind of preserve the history of the home. My grandparents loved history and they loved antiques, and so this was kind of an extension of that love, where they filled it with antiques and basically treated it kind of like a life-size dollhouse. They put the home on the National Register of Historic Places, and we had a lot of family gatherings out there. I had cousins that got married out there. You know, if we were getting together as a family and it was a really nice day, we were all out at the Cambry place. And my grandparents just loved that place. Absolutely. After my grandfather passed away, my grandmother had a traumatic brain injury, and so she was in the nursing home for quite a while. And she passed away in August of 2015. And then 2 weeks after that, my husband actually passed away. He had a heart attack at the age of 40 and died suddenly and very unexpectedly.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, talk about a completely life-altering thing.
Right, exactly. Totally life-altering. And then like having those two losses back to back like that, with like it was a 2 week span, you know, of losing my grandmother and then losing my husband. It was just like I didn't know which way was up. I didn't know I didn't know anything. It was so hard just to kind of like reinvent myself and trying to figure out what I was doing. There's something that's called complicated grieving. Complicated grieving is like a different level of grief. When you suffer multiple losses together, it can throw you into complicated grief. And so that's what I had. And so anyway, in the process of going through my grandmother's estate, they said that they were going to sell the place. And I couldn't lose one more thing. Like that was just it. I wasn't going to lose one more thing. We also had like a realtor had come through to the house to kind of like give us a help with, you know, if we were going to sell it. And she had just said that it was going to have to be totally, completely gutted. Like to give you an idea, like all the windows are the original Hamlin glass from the 1800s. It's like all the woodwork is original to the house. Like even some of the paint is original to the 1860s. And so this realtor coming in and talking about gutting the house and totally remodeling it to have a family live in there was heartbreaking. And I just said, no, that's not happening. And I bought it. Like this weird haze of grief, I bought it within the first year of grief, which everybody tells you not to do that sort of thing. And I will say that, like it was not a well thought out plan. I just bought it and then said, oh, what did I just do? I'm trying to explain to people that I'd bought a 3-bedroom home that I wasn't planning on living in. I wasn't moving into this house. It was really hard. And then like I just had to say, okay, well, what am I going to do with this thing? So I had a couple cousins that got married there over the years. And I thought, well, I could open this up as a wedding venue. And so that was kind of like a logical progression when I actually put some logical thought to this thing. So then I said, well, okay, we'll open it up as a wedding venue. And so that 2017, I opened as a wedding venue. And it was kind of a learning process. And it was hugely therapeutic. Like having that purpose gave me a sense of purpose. So like it, when you go through the death of the spouse, you kind of like have to find yourself and like basically try and reinvent yourself. You've gone from being a we for so many years, and then to be just a me is really difficult. And so this was kind of the process of reinventing myself and finding myself again. And then having that purpose of going through and trying to figure out how to run a business, because that wasn't something that I'd done before. I was a mail carrier prior to this. So
Yeah, and running your own business is hard. I mean, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of things involved.
it is hard. There is a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff that I had to learn, like marketing and stuff. I had this vague idea that when I told people I was running a wedding venue, that people would just show up. And that's not like really how it works. You have to market yourself. So it was like doing some like online marketing classes and like reading everything I could about weddings and wedding venues. And I worked with small business development, which is a free program that the government puts on to help you run a business. And so I worked with small business development, and they helped me kind of put it together, a business plan and a marketing plan. And oh gosh, it was a lot of learning. But it was so good because it just, like in 2015, it felt like everything had fallen apart. And then this was like putting things back together.
Yeah, the loss of your husband, I have a couple friends who recently lost their husbands and they have small kids, and it's just beyond devastating. I mean, it's taking
Yeah.
part of you. And so what, if you are open to it, tell us more about what that was like. How long you guys been together, and did you guys have kids, and how did that affect, obviously it devastated you, but if you're open
Yeah.
to talking about that.
Oh gosh, it's something that like not a lot of people have understanding for, which is why I like to talk about it, because it kind of to help people understand it more, because it's different from being divorced. When you're divorced, you can still see that person. That person can still be involved in your kid's life. I mean, not always, it doesn't always happen, but it's possible. You're still able to kind of co-parent and stuff like that. Whereas when your spouse dies, you don't have that. Like you are literally on your own. My husband and I had been together for 9 years. We had one child together, and I had 3 children from a previous marriage. And it was like he was a stay-at-home dad. So that was even doubly difficult because like he ran the home. I mean, he took care of everything at home. He cooked all of our meals. Like all of our meals were he had cooked, and he watched my daughter, so we didn't have to have her in daycare and stuff. So I took 2 weeks off of work. I
It? That seems like
yeah, that was
nothing.
it. I took 2 weeks off of work. And I luckily I had friends that stepped up and like watched my daughter, so I didn't. I had friends who stepped up, so I didn't have to put her in daycare. So that was good, because it was a big transition for her as well. I mean, she's used to having daddy there all the time, and now he's gone. And
Well, and how old was she?
she was 6. So it was really tough for her to understand. I mean, it was tough for all of us. And then like I don't cook at all. Cooking is not my thing. And that was something that people didn't understand. Like I didn't know how to feed us, and your brain just doesn't really work well. Like
Oh
it,
yeah,
it-
yeah. When
like,
you're under trauma and you're in that
yes.
grief, like no, nothing works. You're not gonna be like, oh, let me figure out this new skill here. No,
Yes,
you're
yes.
on
Let's figure
survival
out a new
mode.
skill of cooking. To this day, my daughter hates frozen pizza. Because we ate so much frozen pizza those first few months that she hates pizza. Like she cannot stand pizza. And
Well, my kids like love pizza. My kids are obsessed. We had to limit it to 1 day a week, and we have pizza Fridays now, and it's like a thing, and we have to
I
have
get it.
pizza on Pizza Friday.
Yeah, I mean, that was we had a lot of frozen pizza. And that was something that people didn't understand. Like, like I'm struggling to figure out what I'm feeding us, and they're like, well, how can we help? I'm like, well, I don't know how to cook. And they're like, oh, well, I don't know. I didn't get a lot of support in that. I didn't
That
get a lot of
seems
support in that
that
area.
seems so interesting to me because I feel like in my religious circle, everyone's like, "Let me bring you a meal. Let me bring you a meal." And I've got 3 kids with autism, but it's like they aren't gonna eat what you. So it's like a totally
Well,
different like thing, but it's
initially yes, like that first week we had so much food in the house. Like I had food for like that first month because of people bringing food.
okay.
But
But
then
after that,
after
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but then after that it was like, oh, now what do we do? That was for me, that was kind of the roughest part, was trying to figure out how to feed us. And then um the grocery store is particularly difficult because there's it's you're walking through the store, and then you see like food that you used to buy for him, like that was his favorite thing, and then you see that, and it's like, and there's so many choices, and like the when you're in the middle of that grief, that trauma thing, like choices are difficult. I mean, try, all you need is ketchup, and there's 20 alternatives. And like there was one where, I'm getting ready for my daughter's birthday party, and I just need ice cream, and there are too many choices. Like, I'm crying in the grocery aisle because I can't figure out how to buy vanilla ice cream. That's it's
Well, there's only like 20 different kinds of vanilla ice cream at the store, so
yeah, 20 different kinds, umpteen different sizes. I mean, it's the grocery store is really rough. So I always recommend to people, if you want to help somebody out, offer to go grocery shopping for them, because it is one, like when I talk to other people, who've lost a spouse, the grocery shopping is one of the worst, one of the hardest experiences to do, um, just because it's so difficult. Just, you know, walking by something that you bought for them every time, and then realizing that you don't need to buy it for them, or, being overwhelmed with choices, and um, cooking for one, or cooking for, a smaller amount, and it's rough. So, somebody grieving, offer to go grocery shopping for them, because really that is usually helpful.
That is a great lesson to learn for the rest of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. So like I joined like a grief support group on Facebook when I was really, going through all that stuff. And it was really helpful for me just to kind of feel like I wasn't going crazy. Um, like one of the first books on grieving I read, like the very first line is, "You're going to feel like you're losing your mind, and you're really not. It's okay. It's part of the process." And I was right. And like you feel like, because you've done everything in your life, up to that point. I mean, years of, like making decisions with somebody else, just having somebody to bounce decisions off of, and you lose that, and it's just it's hard. It just really is. So that I joined this grief support group on Facebook, and I ended up being an admin for it. I'm still a group admin on Facebook for a grief support group for people who've lost with their spouse. So that has been helpful for me as well. Just kind of being able to be there for other people and offer them support. It's it's nice to know you're not the only one going through it, because a lot of times it feels like it's just you, like this is the only, you're the only one who's going through this. And to know that there's other people out there that are going through the same thing, and saying that this is going on. Statistically, widow or widowers lose 75% of their friend base after the loss of a spouse.
Oh,
Yeah, and that is a true statistic, because um, your friend base changes after the loss of the spouse. You go from, like being a couple to being single. So like you lose a lot of the couple friends. People don't know how to interact with you, and so they just kind of pull away. I mean, that one is like one of the most sobering statistics, to think that, you know, they lose 75% of their friend base.
well,
So
I have to say it's a beautiful way to, I don't know, find some sunshine in what has to be one of the worst things to ever happen to somebody, is to have that support group and be able to help other people going through it. Like
yeah,
there is no sunshine in losing your spouse, but there is a way that you could turn that into helping somebody. There's a way that you
absolutely.
can.
Like, I always tell people, like, when you're going through this, to find a project. Find a project, find something that's going to motivate you. Um, for me, it was the business. Honestly, putting together the business was my motivation. Like, it became my reason for going on. I mean, obviously I have other reasons in my life, don't get me wrong, but it was just like,
Passion. Passion
yes,
is so important. And passion,
exactly.
it lights you up and it gives you energy no matter what else is going on around you. If you can find that little spark of passion, it's so powerful.
Absolutely. Exactly. That's it exactly, in a nutshell. It's like finding passion again. And starting a business in the middle of the grieving process, I'm not sure that I recommend that, but finding a passion is 100% what I feel helps people through that. Like, becoming the admin for the Facebook group was something that I was super passionate about. Like, I know how much it helped me. And so I wanted to be there and keep the group going, to make sure that it was there for other people. So yeah,
Which is beautiful.
yeah.
That's
Thank
very
you.
beautiful. So you had this amazing 1800s house, and you're turning it into, tell us that story, how you're turning it into a wedding venue, and how the difficulty of like figuring out how to run a business and how to get people to pay for it, because I mean, buying a second home, which sure was expensive, and like trying to cover that cost and the upkeep and all the things.
Yeah, that was so I didn't have a wedding for the first 2 years. It was 2019 before I had my first wedding.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that was rough. That was rough. I mean, weddings are booked like a year out at least, if not 2 years. And so it takes a long time to get involved in a wedding business, especially for a venue, because the venue is the very first thing a bride books when she finds out she's engaged. When she finds out she's engaged, she books the venue. So you have to market to people before they become engaged, like while they're thinking about they might get married. And so it's kind of it's a very long game.
That's so interesting, because like that's entirely different from my crazy experience, but like I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, like I said, it was a whole learning process when I started the wedding venue business, and like learning about the wedding venue business, like learning about the wedding industry, period, just um how different the whole wedding industry is. I mean, it is just a whole different type thing. Like again, like I said, the bride, she picks the venue, and then she'll pick like the photographer and the caterer, and all those things are booked around a year out. So people planning a wedding life like 2 to 3 months, kind of they start behind the ball, because then their things are already booked, and so it's hard.
Yeah, I met my husband and we got married 7 weeks after we met. So
yeah, it was rough, I'm sure.
We didn't really do all that stuff. We just sort of skipped it all.
You know what? That's honestly the best way to do it, because like the big wedding can sometimes be like this huge circus of a thing that rolls out of control. And like I always try to tell my brides, like, I'm here to make this work easy for you. I want my part of your experience to be the easiest part you deal with.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
so
like I don't
stressful.
it is very stressful. And I know like a lot of the other venues, like you have to be there at X time and you have to leave there at X time, and they add all these rules and things that you have to do, and I'm
Well,
just
and you
like,
can't always control people. Especially at a
no.
wedding, when it's like, oh, every relative you have is going to be there, and you're like, okay, relatives, you have to leave by this time.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
I mean, oh gosh, no. Like, so I try to go through, I'm like, no, everything's calm here. This is less stress. What can I do to make this less stressful for you?
Well, that's awesome. And that's
Yeah.
totally in service to people.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, that's when I was going through my packages, and I think like the whole grief process kind of gave me a little more insight into that. It's like, I don't want to make this stressful for me, you know, not about making this stressful for me. Let's make this less stressful for you too. Let's just calm this all down. Everybody's going to be calm here. We're making this whole process less stressful.
Let's just tell the whole world the big blanket statement. It's okay. We can be calm. We can be at peace. It's okay.
Right, exactly. And like when I was putting together wedding packages, like I'm looking at other venues and they're like, they don't want to tell you. They don't want to tell you anything. Like you have to come there in person, and then they like add on all these hidden fees and all this kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like, why? Number one, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like when I go someplace and they tell you one thing, and then by the time you add on all this other stuff that you need, it's another price. Like, I want to know what the price is going into it. I don't want you to change the price on me. I don't want you to put on add-ons. I just want to know what the price is. So yeah, when I was putting together my all my wedding stuff, all the pricing is right there. Like, you go to my website, the pricing is right there. Like, I don't like doing the hidden stuff. It just, I don't like that. So I don't do that.
Being very transparent, which is beautiful, and it's very, again, it's in service to people. People like transparency, and they don't want to have to do all that guesswork.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They don't like doing that. I mean, there's a reasoning that why they do it that way. And for them it works. I get it. I mean, you do you, but and then the other thing, like I found out that, brides have the rehearsal. They need the rehearsal. They need time to clean up. So my package, I set it up for a whole weekend. So basically they get it from Friday evening until Sunday at noon. And that way they have the whole weekend. It's less stress because you just go there and you have plenty of time. You do the rehearsal, you do the cleanup and that sort of stuff. So like building the packages is like looking at other businesses and like, well, I don't like that. And I don't like this. And then like thinking about my own wedding and, what I had done for both of my weddings. Like the first one, I did the big circus and it was a circus. And then the second one, I eloped and it was so much less stress. And so like I try to go through and say, okay, well, what did I like about this? What I did not like about this? And then like, again, passing that on to the brides, like, what can I do to make this less stressful for both of us?
Yeah, absolutely. So are you guys, I mean, are you far enough in that it's like pretty busy and successful?
Yeah, it's moderately busy and successful. It's supporting the farm, which was like the main goal out there, is like to make the farm self-supporting. And so that to me is successful.
Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. And that's like, it's so much work and it's so much like dedication. And I think it's really like beautiful that you've put all that into to keep this house that has
Yeah.
meant so much to your family, for
Right.
generations, and to turn it into something that has the ability to stay as it is for the foreseeable future. I mean, I'm sure it's
Right.
like,
And that's part of what I really love about doing this, is that I get to tell the story about my grandparents and I get to tell the history of the farm and the home out there, but I also get to tell the story of my grandparents and how much they love this place, and keep their memories alive. And this was my husband's favorite place to go. I mean, like when we got married, like we spent so much time out there because he loved it out there so much. And so it's kind of like being close to him too at the same time, was like going to one of his favorite places. And you know being able to keep that for my daughter and my kids is just really, really important to me, to keep all that together. And like doing the business there, then I get to go talk about my grandparents and my husband and share all that with other people too. So
I love that. And it's a beautiful legacy for them. And it's also really beautiful for those people who are getting married there to be like,
yeah.
this has meaning. This isn't just like a building somebody put up. This has survived. This has a lot of heart to it. And I think that adds so much to somebody's wedding.
Yeah, but like this is my special place, and then I get to share that with other people, and then it becomes their special place too.
Guys, I just wanted to pause here for 1 second to let you know about the awesome thing that I'm doing right now. I am so excited to announce that I'm offering a custom song experience for a small number of people. This is your chance to take your story, your podcast, or your business even, and turn it into a incredible, timeless work that will bring back beautiful, loving emotions for decades to come. This is such a perfect gift for your spouse, for a newborn baby, or for a parent, and it's a really great way to embody your business or your podcast's mission. We're going to meet together several times and deep dive into the message and emotion you want to convey to make sure that you're getting something that you absolutely adore. A custom song is an incredible asset for advertising, for lifting team spirit, and for like encapsulating family memories. You can schedule a clarity call with me at calendly.com/Caraleigh Garrison/clarity call. The link for that is also in the show notes, and it's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited to work with you.
Like I had one bride who got married out there, and then she came back and they did their pregnancy announcement out there. And so they did like the big photo shoot for the pregnancy announcement, and then they did their maternity pictures out there, and then they did their newborn pictures out there. And so it's kind of cool that I get to be part of their life and see for their milestones. And it's just really special to me to be able to be a small part of that.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely like you're part of their story, and because of what you've done, like that's a significant part of so many people's story. It's like the place where we came together and like started our lives, and like it's significant, and it does make a difference, especially when it's founded in this rich history that you have.
Yeah, and just like I get as excited as the brides do to see the wedding pictures, you know. like I'm going to the photographer's, Facebook page and hitting refresh on it, like, are they gonna post a preview today? Because I love seeing the pictures from out at the farm too. And it's exciting for me to see my special place become somebody else's special place too.
Yeah, I love that. So talk to me about seeking sunshine in this whole journey. What, because you definitely had, some really, really dark times in there. And how did you, before this business was, like really a thing, and it was still kind of struggling, and you were just in that place. How did you get through that? How did you find, reasons to keep going?
Um, it was keeping their history alive. Like keeping their history alive is what really kept me going. It's like I want to hold on to this place that was so special to them. It's like I couldn't give up, I couldn't give up on that. I couldn't give up on this thing that is the Cambria house. I couldn't give up on it. And so it was keeping their memories alive. And the business was almost secondary to that. Just it was the business and planning that gave me focus and purpose and passion. But really it was keeping their memories alive that really kind of gave me that sunshine.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. It's all, it boils down to love.
Yeah,
It boils
absolutely.
down to that love, and that can just, it can conquer all, right? It can just cut through all the darkness and just conquer all. It's really a beautiful story, and it's a great way to look at our lives of like when we are facing darkness and we're sitting there going, how am I supposed to get through this? And we ask ourselves that, and we're sitting there going, this, I don't see a way out. I'm in this tunnel and it's all dark, it's all black, and I do not see any light. And then if you can sit and pause for a second and go, how do I find something to keep me going? How do I find that? And if we look for our loved ones and how we can support them, because I mean, you had your kids and you had this legacy, like how do we feel the love that is around us when we're at our worst moments? It's taking that time out of your day to look for the love, because it is there, and you found it, and you were able to turn that into a reason to go, a way to thrive through the darkness.
Right. Yeah, exactly that. It was you know reinventing myself and all that, but you're right, it was all about finding myself again, finding my passion, my love, my drive. Like, and when I work with other widows and stuff too, it's like seeing it's seeing them and what they become passionate about. Like one of them, you know, worked on a quilt, and that was like her passion. She became so passionate about the quilting that she quilts now all the time. That's like, she loves it. Um, Never quilted before a day in her life. And then all of a sudden, you know, here she is, like she's working for a quilt store now.
Wow. Yeah, you have to find something to light you up. You've got
Yeah.
to find that passion inside you. It's so like pertinent to who we are as people. And I feel like, you know, before we get married and have families, like we pursued our passions. It was like, oh,
Right.
what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to study in college? What do you want to do? And we thought about it like all the time. And then I feel like we kind of, especially as mothers, we kind of get in there and it's like, oh, well, I'm just a mom now and that's just my whole life, you know, and we get wrapped up and we kind of forget ourselves, and we kind of, you know, let those passions fall by the wayside. And then you
Right.
have something that shakes you up like this, and you have to figure out where you are in this world. Who are you, and what does your life mean, and how do you find that spark again? And finding a passion is it's one of the fastest ways to like learn who you are again and be yourself again and
Absolutely.
feel
Yeah.
purpose in your life again.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It just, you know, not everybody has those, you know, we get so mired in the day-to-day stuff that we don't always have that catalyst of, you know, being pushed into a situation where you have to reevaluate your life. But when you do, it's, you know, it makes you into a better person, like a stronger person. Like everybody's like, oh, you're so strong because you've been through this. So like, well, yeah, because I had to be. Like I was didn't really get a choice in that, but I
Oh yeah.
am. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I totally feel that. I have three kids with autism that are on the autism spectrum, and yeah, it's like you don't choose the path that you're put on. You don't get to
No.
choose all of the bumps in your road, but you get to choose how you respond. And you know, that's just life, right? And then hopefully we can use our experiences to connect with other people who are also struggling in the same way. And then that's how we can build communities, and that's how we can, you know, help other people and bring more love to this world.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like going through that grieving process, I mean, you really do feel like you're going crazy. Like you there's so many physical symptoms that go along with grief. Like anxiety, like hair loss. I lost a tooth. All that stress and stuff that you go through, you know, is just so hard on your body. And, you know, like you don't realize how physical the grieving process is. I mean, like I mean, and most people think of like the mental aspect of being sad and crying and, you know, the depression aspect of it, but it's also like a physical thing
Well,
too.
all of our trauma is stored in our body, and that's
Absolutely.
incredibly traumatic. And so you have to, you know, recognize where it's showing up and like really just so much self-care.
Right. Exactly. And so like having the group that you can talk to and say, well, you know, I'm going through this, you know, does anybody else feel like this? And then having the people come back and say, yes, absolutely. I've been through that. And, you know, this is how I got through it, you know, having that aspect, you know, the people who've gone through it and been through and gone, found the other side.
Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna say it's like it reminds you that there is another side. There is
yeah,
there's another side to your I don't know, your tightrope that you're walking. Like, you know, you're gonna get to
right.
that other side. It exists. You can survive this. Because I'm sure
Yeah,
that in the moment, like you're going, I see no light. I do not see the light at the end of this tunnel. And then there's people going, no, wait, if you're, you know, keep going. I know that there's light. I see it. I've been there.
yeah,
Just keep going a few more
exactly.
steps.
Yeah. And I mean, people get hung up on the fact like you're going to get over it. Well, like this is always going to be a part of me now. Like I'm always going to have this as a part of myself. It's just I've learned to kind of integrate it into myself. Like it's not,
Ooh, that's a great way to put it.
yeah, it's not like the first thing on my mind every day when I wake up, but it's more a part of myself that I'm comfortable with.
You don't define yourself by it, but it is inevitably part of your story, and our stories make us who we are.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. So tell us where we can find you, where we can find your website for your venue, so anyone who's in your area can go look it.
It's cambrehouse.com. So Cambre. It's named after the family who built the home. Cambry, I'm pretty much Cambry House everywhere you go. So it's Cambry House on Facebook, Cambry period house on Instagram, and Cambry House on TikTok too. So kind of get some history stuff and a few ghost stories in there too. So
Oh, this reminds me so much of have you're probably familiar with Miranda Lambert's song "The House That Built Me."
yes, yeah,
Yes, I just heard it the other day and I'm like, oh, that's so like the vibe of this conversation and this house and like what it has meant to you. Like this house has been such a like you have given so much to it, but in return it has kind of saved you.
yeah, it really has. And it's funny because people think I'm a Cambry now, and I'm like, well, not exactly, but as well be at this point.
Right, like okay, oh, why not? All right, so as we wrap up, any like final words of wisdom to share with everyone?
Um, I would just say that, remember that, even if you're going through the grieving process, that there's still life. Reach out, find somebody who's been through it, and, you know, find your other side, find your passion for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. Connection and passion, they're lifesavers, really.
For sure.
Like
Yeah.
that's what'll help us get through. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I have so appreciated your story.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you have an amazing day.
Yes, you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, I love Rebecca's story so much. It's so sweet and it's so inspiring, and there's so much that we can take from it. So actually, here are my favorite takeaways. Number 1, passion is so important. It lights you up and gives you energy no matter what else is going on around you. If you can just find that little spark of passion, it is so powerful. Number 2, you have to find something to light you up. You've got to find that passion inside you. It's so pertinent to who we are as people. Number 3, finding a passion is one of the fastest ways to learn who you are again and be yourself and feel purpose in your life again. Number 4, we don't always have that catalyst of being pushed into a situation where you have to reevaluate your life. But when you do, it makes you into a better person, a stronger person. Number 5, you don't choose the path that you're put on. You don't get to choose all the bumps on your road, but you get to choose how you respond. That's just life, right? And then hopefully we can use our experiences to connect with other people who are also struggling in the same way. And then that's how we can build communities, and that's how we can help other people and bring more love to this world. Number 6, it reminds you that there is another side. There is another side to the tightrope you're walking. You're going to get to that side. It exists. You can survive this. And lastly, number 7, this is always going to be part of me, but I've learned how to integrate it. It's not the first thing on my mind every day when I wake up, but it's more a part of myself that I'm comfortable with. Oh, I just loved Rebecca's story. It's she had so much tragedy she had to deal with it, and yet she turned it around and turned it into something so beautiful that is just helping so many generations of people, and I find that so beautiful. So you can find out more about the Cambry House at www.cambryhouse.com, and that's CAMBRE. And then, of course, you can find more from me at my website, KaraleighGarrison.com, which is also where you can pre-order my album. And, of course, you can also schedule a clarity call to get a custom song at calendly.com/KaraleighGarrison/clarity-call. So I'm really excited for that opportunity for you, and I'm going to leave you with a song. I hope that you have an amazing day.
Somebody like you put yourself out
Are you looking for ways to support my podcast? If so, then please like it, subscribe it, and leave it a review. Did you know that if you leave a review, it helps my podcast get shown to more people? I would so appreciate it if you could leave some words in the review box and let people know. Share this with your friends and family and tell them about the episodes that you really like and some of the takeaways that you've personally received and that have helped you out.